how you like it, yeah.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the We Own a TV podcast. My name is Leaf. I am your host. This is a podcast where we watch the first episode of a show and then we talk about it. Today, we are talking about Smiling Friends. The premise on IMDb states, follows employees of a small company dedicated to bringing happiness to a bizarre yet colorful world. So, I've seen a couple clips on TikTok of Smiling World, which I thought were funny, a little weird, but funny. So, before I even hopped into this episode, I knew that it was going to be weird, and I knew it was on Adult Swim, so anything could happen. But nothing really prepared me for what this first episode was actually about. But if it's your first time here, I go through the plot beat by beat. That way you don't have to, and that way I don't miss anything. So we started off with the Smiling Friends logo, it's just kind of flashing. And then immediately we're into the weirdness with a giant smiling face between normal buildings. So the building itself is a giant smiling face. We meet our two main characters, Pim and Charlie, in like the break room. They're watching a 3D alien on like a plain black screen, and it's just kind of like moving and like talking. It's like, okay. Charlie's like, can we watch something else? And Pim's like, no, dude, it's about to get good, I promise. And Charlie's this small purple guy with like giant eyes, and Charlie's this taller guy that's yellow with like a bigger nose. We meet their other coworker, Alan, who's this tall, skinny, like red thing, and he is trying to catch a mouse. They've stolen his special cheese, and he wants it back. Charlie missed the alien doing a spin, apparently, when he was talking to Alan about what's going on. Immediately, an alarm starts going off, and the building's eyes are flashing red, and everyone outside immediately runs away. So again, this show is already off the bat just being like super out there. Turns out that Charlie and Pim have a job. They meet their boss, who seems like just a regular human with a giant head. And he's like, you guys don't mind if someone eats in front of you, right? And they're like, no, it's fine. And there's this like little, I don't even know what to call it. There's this like little like caterpillar looking thing, which is apparently his baby. And so as he's talking to them, he's breastfeeding them, even though he's a male. And he's like, yeah, this lady wants you to help her son feel better, so yeah, if you guys can go pay him a visit. And then he's interrupted because like the baby bit him, so he's like, hey, like, don't bite, you know that hurts, daddy, like, don't bite, daddy, no, would you like it if I bit you? And it's just really odd and uncomfortable, and I was just like, oh god, like, what is this show? What did I get myself into? But they are off. Charlie and Pim get to the house. Pim is like, I love helping kids. Like, I just love helping kids. I love kids. And he like screams that he loves kids. And Charlie's like, whoa, chill out, man. That's not something you yell around, people. This creepy old lady opens the door. It's funny when she walks, because instead of walking like one leg in front of the other, she's like stomping the ground like up and down. It's kind of weird to visualize if you don't know what I'm talking about. But she's weird. She looks weird. She's like, all right, my son's in there. They're like, oh, hey, they pop in like, hey, little buddy, what's going on? Oh, my God. It's this like 50 to 60-year-old man with, he's just in a tank top and his boxers. He got a gun to his head. He's like, hey, just, I was going to kill myself. What's going on? And they're like, what's got you down? And he's like, well, my wife and kids left me. My dog died of a heartbreak. I'm just, don't really have anything to really live for. And Charlie's like, yo, can we have like a little sidebar real quick? Charlie's like, listen, man, this guy's already decided. He is most likely, on his way out. I say we cut our losses and we go back to work. And Pim's like, no, dude, like, we got to show him, the good things in life. We got to help him out. And Pim goes back to him. He's like, listen, I promise by the end of the day, we're going to put a smile on your face. And Desmond's like, all right, but like, if you don't, I'm going to blow my brains out and I'm do it right in front of you two. And they're like, okay. So we go back into the office and is Alan there, and he's counting paper clips for some reason. And he asks Gleb if he's taking any paper clips. Gleb there's like a small, like, he was in the background at the beginning. He's just a small green guy with like a wizard hat on. And he doesn't even talk in English. He's like, and he's like watching a YouTube video of like this guy in a fedora. I don't know if he's like trying to do magic or something. It's really weird. While that's happening, the mousetrap goes off. Alan's like, yes, finally, I can get my cheese back. He goes over, he sees blood going behind the fridge. He pushes the fridge aside. There's a hole in the wall. He goes into the hole in the wall, and there's a guy just in the walls. Because it's like, it's not like, cramped. It's like a whole like space back there, almost like he went into like the basement. And there's a guy who's just like working on a computer. And as Alan steps in, he like covers the computer screen, which is kind of funny because you can almost see through his hands, and it's not like anything like weird or sexual. It just looks like he's almost like like he's in Excel or something, but he's like, don't look at my computer, like don't look at my screen. And Alan's like, like, what are you doing back here? Like, you're not even supposed to be back here. Have you seen this mouse? And he's like, I don't know, maybe that way. And he's like, hey, maybe next time knock before entering someone's place. And he's like, you're in our walls, why would I knock? And he's like, I don't know, maybe knock next time, dude. And he's like, I don't got the time for this, and so Alan keeps moving. He's looking for that mouse. We cut back to Pim and Charlie and Desmond. Pim took him to his family home. Desmond is walking around with the gun to his head, so he's waiting any moment to just be like, the moment you guys don't have it, make it work out, I'm blowing my brains out. There is a kid running in the background, which I thought was so hilarious. I can't describe like why I thought it was funny. Maybe it's the speed at which he's running, but he's just running back and forth. You don't meet him. He's just running back and forth the whole time. So we meet Pim's skater cousin, and he's like, yo, show him the trick, like it'll be cool. Turns out he's not really a skater. He just does like the little finger skateboard or whatever. I was like, okay. Pim talks to his sister. Her sister's like, I hate you. Like, honestly, like, I hate you. And she has like this huge, like, ripped boyfriend who's not saying anything. He's just flexing right next to her. And then the mom starts yelling at the dad. And she's like, come, like, hang out with your son. He's here. He's home. And he's like, no, I worked 14 hours in the mines. I don't want to do anything. And then they start yelling. Turns out the dad is also watching that weird alien that's just like standing on a black screen. So maybe it's a family thing. But they begin to argue. Their sister's boyfriend randomly throws up and he starts crying. He's like, I'm so sorry. I ruined everything. I'm so sorry. And someone shoots a gun. You don't see who it is, but someone shoots a gun. It looks like a shotgun. Everything's just kind of going to shit. And Pim's like, you know what? You know what's better than family? Friends. And that transitions. They're at a house party. Pim's like, listen, Desmond, anyone can be your friend. Watch this. And he goes over and he taps the guy on his shoulder. And the dude's like, dude, what the hell? Are you touching me? He's like, why are you even here? You're old. Like, don't you have like a family and kids to get to or whatever? Which is so funny because when that guy's yelling at him and you see the whole crowd, everyone at this party, it looks like they're 30 years old. So I was like, what's happening right now? Like, everyone's old. I don't get it. But they're talking like they're college kids. And then Charlie's like, yeah, Pim, you are getting older. Your best years are kind of behind you. And Desmond's like, yeah, everything just kind of moves along, and eventually, you just kind of run out of time. And yeah, all right, I'm gonna go kill myself now. And then Pim's like, wait, I'll take you to one more place. All right, let's try one more place and then see how things go. So they go to Dave Land, which everything is Dave themed. And Desmond's like, who the hell is Dave? And Pim's like, I don't know, Dave Land. I guess he's the guy who like created Dave Land. He's Dave. And so they go, they ride rides, they play games. They're having a bunch of fun. And we cut back to Alan. Alan finally finds the person that stole his cheese. There's this like small little purple dude, and his hand is missing, and he has the cheese in his hand. He's like, oh, hey, buddy, I'm sorry, like you're hurt. If I could just get my cheese back. And he starts to reach for it. The little purple dude stabs him with a paperclip, runs away, and climbs into a giant hanging ball sack that's on the ceiling. Again, I couldn't possibly have prepared myself for any of this episode. Alan pokes the ball sack, and then it starts shaking, and then a flood of those purple dudes pours out. Of course, it makes a bunch of noise. The boss hears it for like a second, and he's like, can you guys quiet down in there? And he goes back to playing like a video game. We go back to Pim and Charlie. Pim's like, hey, Desmond, you feeling a little better now? He's like, yeah, I was feeling better for like a second, but then I just went back to being sad. And then he goes like on a whole diatribe of like, hey, is this all temporary? Or are we all just doing things, hanging out, seeing family, hanging out with friends, just to, break up the monotony of the fact that, everything's gonna go one day? And this breaks Pim. He's just frozen, like he's not even talking anymore. He's just kind of contemplating life and having an existential crisis. Desmond's like, all right, hey, Charlie, did you want to try to show me anything to like lift my spirits? And Charlie just points down the ant. And he's like, you wanted to show me that ant? And he's like, all right, well, I tried. He's like, listen, we got to fill out some paperwork before you kill yourself. So if you can come back to the office and fill it out and just, say that we didn't make it or, we didn't help you out or whatever, that would be super chill. And he's like, all right. And so they all leave. They go back to the office. Alan is being crucified and stabbed. And there's just purple guys everywhere. And they're like, they're just running amok. And the one with the cheese and the missing hand sees Desmond. And he's like, oh. And so he runs towards him. Desmond's like, what the hell? And he takes the gun and he shoots it. And then he's like, oh my God, that felt good. And I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, is he going to become a killer and start like killing people and like shooting everybody or whatever? But no, it actually turns out to be a lot somehow lighthearted than I thought on this weird show where he creates a blibble, which I guess what the little purple dudes are called, a blibble extermination service. So you're watching his commercial and he's like, if you got a blibble problem, you call us. We'll take care of it no matter what. We'll burn them, we'll kill them, we'll choke them, like whatever you need. We'll get them out of there. So they turned his life around. And now Desmond is doing great. We end the episode with Charlie and Alan. They're like laughing and like making noises. They're like repeating the same lines. They're just kind of laughing. Pim, again, is having an existential crisis. He looks worse than when we last saw him. He looks like how Desmond looked in the beginning of the episode. And then the alien from the TV show pops out of the TV. And he's like, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching. And while that's happening, Charlie and Alan are like freaking out in the corner. He's like, oh my God, get it. And Charlie's like, get it down, get it down, get it down. And Alan's like, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. He's like, get it down. And then the episode ends. And that was Smiling Friends. Like I said, the clips I've seen on TikTok are just like the funny parts. But even then, when I was watching it, this show is clearly like mixture of like different animation styles. So it's mainly 2D. But like I said, that you got the alien who's 3D. There was a character I seen that was claymation. There was another character that was supposed to look like it was from like an old like early like PlayStation 1 type of character in the clips that I saw. So there are clearly like different styles and like funny moments of this show. But, I mean, this show is, like, wild. But before I start really talking about it, if it's your first time here, I have a 3-point rating system. It is 1 and done, give it a chance, and I'm in. This one is actually a little weird for me. So, usually, like, by the end of the episode, I can be like, oh, I know for a fact I'm going to give it this or that. But for this one, it is... So, like, there's parts of the humor that I think really hit me. Like the fact that like, oh yeah, Dave Land, who's Dave? I don't know, who's the guy who made like Dave Land? Like shit like that makes me laugh. And like I said, the little kid that was running in the background, which I don't even know was supposed to be funny, I thought was just hilarious. But then again, the show is so weird with like the weird old lady or like the guy who just kind of like threw up randomly and he's like, I'm so sorry. But again, that part I found funny because I was like, it's so random. Like, why would you even think about that? The whole time with like Desmond having the gun to his head being like, I'm gonna kill myself, guys. It's like, oh, this is kind of heavy, bro. But then when he asked Charlie, because I it felt like he was just so ready to go when he asked Charlie and he's like, so, like, hey, man, you want to show me anything? Or, I'm going to kind of head out here. And he's like, I don't know, dude. You want to look at that ant or whatever? Like, it's... I don't know how to feel about this show. But I know for a fact that if someone put on another episode, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be like, yo, you got to turn this off. So, if I had to be binary about it, I'm going to go with give it a chance. Because I can see myself watching another episode. Again, I've seen some clips that I thought were funny from some of the other episodes. But realistically, I don't know if I'd actually give the show a chance. But I know for a fact I'm not like 1 and done. So just because I always give a rating, I'm going to say give it a chance. Alright, but I actually don't know if I'm going to give it a chance. But yeah, this show is so weird, dude. It is so weird. I couldn't possibly like comprehend what I was actually getting myself into. And I knew it was an Adult Swim show, and I've seen shows growing up, but like this is just one of those where I would see it when I was younger and be like, I don't know if I want to watch this unless everyone was talking about it. So yeah, but I'm glad I had the experience. So I'm just gonna leave the episode at that. I highly recommend, if anything, just watch like the first 2 to 3 minutes of this episode so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna leave it there. Next week I will be covering Fallout TV show on Amazon. Stay tuned for that. Until next time, I will see you guys next Tuesday. Peace.